NRL Fantasy Round 20 is in the books, and I've got to say, a lot of surprises this week, but one thing that should not have surprised us was Nathan Cleary. 80-plus fantasy points, a Panthers win, and the match-winning field goal. We got to go by this guy. But let's get started here with the Raiders and the Warriors as the first part of this recap here. So Hudson Young, top scorer of the week, 92 points, 47 tackles, 1 forced turnover, 2 tries. He was getting it done on both attack and defense, and this is a great score from Hudson Young. Fanua Blake, back to big minutes here, so Tohu Harris is out for the year. Scored a try as well, which definitely doesn't help, but I'm looking at Fanua Blake as a bona fide keeper here, especially with Tohu out for the year. So he's going to be getting big minutes and getting some big scores for us. Mitch Barnett, 66 with a try. I'm not completely convinced, but at the same time, that role is really strong. The minutes are really strong. It's just 807K compared to, when I talk about Fanua Blake differently, he's at 680K. So 120K price difference. I'm judging them differently. I look at Barnett and I think, you know what? I can get Isaiah Yeo for that price, which is probably what I'm going to do next week instead. Wade Egan bounced back to form when he gets the minutes, he gets the points. Very creative attacking hooker. I love the look of him right now. Fogarty came in, 60 points on his return game, which is epic. So we'll have to have a look at him this week. Dylan Walker played 80 minutes, scored 62 points. If he's going to do that at lock every week, then hey, we might have to reconsider this one as well. RTS played fullback. I don't expect that to happen long term, so I'm probably going to ignore this one. Chans will be back pretty soon, and Tuapiki isn't out for a long time as well. Then Tarpanay, 55 points. We can live with that. Rolling down the list here, I can't forget Starling, right? So Starling, the little hooker that we all got in, last 3 games, he's played big minutes. And when he plays those minutes, he's a super talented guy. He gets through a ton of work, and he can score you big fantasy points. So 62, not out of the realm of what you can expect going forward from him. Zach Hoskin came back, 51 minutes, 49 points. I've got my eyes on this one. And then down towards the bottom of the list here, anyone else we really want to talk about here? KO Weeks, 29 points, just didn't have the attacking stats for us this week. And down to the bottom, I mean, Tuapiki copped that issue, concussion as well. So that's a tough one if you are a Tuapiki owner. All right, next up here, we got the Rabbitohs and the Tigers. So for the Bunnies, Damien Cook, another top 5 scorer. We were stacked up with some big scores at the start of the round. And for him, he moved out of the hooker position, still ran 150 meters, still scored, pulled off 2 try assists, and had a bunch of attacking plays in this game. So Damien Cook, 79 points, proving he can get it done anywhere on the field. Lockie Galvin, 70 points. Big game from him, looking like a keeper for us right now. So, hey, we might have to stick with him. Kalomatangi, 59 points. So, didn't really play as much edge as I was expecting this game. Obviously, Cam Murray's suspension definitely helps him as well. So, he's going to keep on rolling. And then rolling down the list here, De Silva. Tell you what, my eyes are on him for the future. 58 points. That was a great game from him. We'll go down the list here. Johnny Bateman, 53. Jack Whiten with a solid 53 as well. And then down towards the bottom, Cheekham, 44. If you looked at him, Itoka Manu with a safe 41. Who else we got here that's fantasy relevant? Jai Gray, look, 29 points to the try is not ideal from him, but we'll take the 29 because it was looking a lot worse for a while there. Down the bottom list here, yeah, look, no one we're going to talk about here too much. So really loaded up at the top in this game. All right, next up, Knights and the Broncos. So for the Knights and the Broncos, Dean Mariner had a big game. Mariner is one of those guys who he has these big games in him, but then also some lower games. So probably not one I'm considering, but if you're in a draft league, you can have a look at him. Corey Jensen, this has been a historic run. So he's been fantastic the last month of footy while we've seen Paddy Carrigan, Payne Haas out for a bit. So with Corey Jensen, you can't be targeting him now because those guys are going to get their minutes back very soon. But if you had him over this period, I'll tell you what, he's an absolute beast. Reece Walsh, 59 points. Now, watching the game, I felt like he was going to score more fantasy points than this. But, hey, you'll take 59 if you have him. It's just the issue is that he has to play some really good footy to score that 59 points. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, hey, maybe I won't target Reece Walsh, especially since that break even, I believe, 36 points. He's going to go up in price about 25K. He's going to be a bit more expensive. We'll see how he goes. They also do have a buy coming up soon as well. Then Ezra Mam with a 58. Payne Haas, 53 points in 59 minutes. We can live with that. Kalen Ponga, 52 points. I got to say, this was a tough 52-point performance. So not a lot of freebies in this one. He just made it happen. Greg Mazu scored a try, got to 48 points. Dylan Lucas moved back into the forward pack and got 48 as well. Then rolling down the list here, Pierre Kura, 45 points, was finally hitting some form, scored that try, and he picked up an injury in this game. So keep an eye on team list for next week and see if he gets named. Kai Pierce-Paul, 37 in 80 minutes is really average. The 80 minutes is very promising, but At 37 points, you don't want that in your team. And then rolling down to the bottom here, Paddy Carrigan, 23 points in 54 minutes. That's brutal. Backing up from Origin, he picked up a bit of an injury in that game as well. That's probably what's caused this, but at the same time, it's a tough one to swallow. Jaden Brayley, 15 points. If you still have him, it is time to sell. He played 71 minutes in this game. 15 points is really average there with 27 tackles. And then down the bottom here, Bradman Best unfortunately picked up an injury in this one, so he only played 9 minutes. Look, I know it's a hamstring, so it's not going to be a short-term thing. The Knights have a bye this week. We'll see how it comes out, but he might be a sell option as well. And then Mapalangi, that's a low score. Hopefully he didn't start him. All right, moving through to the next game here. And this is an interesting game. So the Roosters have had some struggles with top teams recently, particularly the Storm and the Panthers. I thought they might come into this game and run a bit more of a show, but unfortunately for them, I guess, fortunate for the Storm here, the Storm really showed up and got it done. So for the Storm here, Sean Bloor, first up, 70 points, a top 10 score of the week. I think it was the 10th highest score of the week. So I'm looking at him and thinking, hey, there's some big attacking plays in there, but also some very consistent numbers. So that 29 tackles is nice, very few missed tackles, some good run meters. I'm looking at Sean Bloor and I'm thinking, hey, Cam Munster might be back next week, potentially the week after. It'll be in the next couple of weeks. And I think Munster returning is going to lead to Bloor getting a lot more quality ball in this Storm side. So he could be a keeper option outside the box thinking, but hey, you might want to hold on to him. Angus Crichton, 65 points, big game from him. And then rolling down the list here, let's keep going through. Grant Anderson, big game, but I'm not really considering him. Jack Howarth, oh man, he's looking good as well. 312K. He'll get that center eligibility at some point too. So could be an option you explore at a pretty cheap price point. Victor Radley with a 57, even with the time in the bin as well. So that's pretty epic. Terrell May, 47 points. That's okay. And then going down the list here, Dom Young scored a try, got 46. He's going to have some big games down the stretch. So I would keep Dom Young if I had him because I like to look at the Roosters fixtures. Going down the list here, let's see, Jerome Hughes, 42 points. Just didn't have the attacking players to really boost that score this week. Tyron Wishart, 42 points as well. Again, no big attacking plays for him to boost that score. Eli Katoa with the 35. I was hoping for a bit more. He started good, but then cooled off. Tedesco, 30 points. No attacking plays. That's the issue there. Connor Watson was a big one here, so I want to talk about Connor Watson because I don't think you should overreact to this one. So Connor Watson moved to center twice in this game. They had multiple injuries to centers, and they also had Connor Watson go to the sin bin. So look, 30 points here is basically the worst case scenario in terms of 2 injuries that impacted Watson and then also a sin bin. So I'm looking at him, I'm thinking, you know what, if you have him already, stick with him. He's going to come good, right? He'll heat up. If you don't have him, then he might drop a bit of cash, maybe not this week. Oh, yeah, definitely this week. He'll drop cash this week and next week as well. So you could probably wait till after their bye, which is around 23 to target him instead. So Connor Watson, I wouldn't stress too much if you did buy him. I am one of the people who bought him. Pappenhausen, 28 points. Man, just a wet weather game. So not his ideal scenario. Suafai Longo came on for 4 minutes and scored 12 points with a try, which I'll tell you what, that guy can find the try line. If he gets a starting fullback spot somewhere at some point for a long period of time, he's going to have to target 100%. All right, next up, Panthers and the Dolphins. So Nathan Cleary, 86 points in this game, and he was unstoppable. So for Cleary, we had the field goal, obviously. You have a couple of try assists. You have about 450 kick meters, plenty of run meters as well. And I think there's 5 tackle breaks or so in this one. Let's just double check that. Yeah, 5 tackle breaks here too. So again, I'm looking at Cleary and thinking this is a pretty regular game. He's going to kick 5 goals a lot of weeks. He's going to have a try assist or 2 most weeks as well. Nothing about this game was super out of the ordinary. So I'm looking at him and thinking, hey, it could be a 70 to 80 average down the stretch. Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, 75 points, 2 tries. He is an attacking master. Taruva, Fisher-Harris, big scores. Katoa as well. Dean Laurie, if you got on him as a pod, man, he's been on fire as well. Eisenhuth, shout out to Jay-Z who cashed out to him. 62 points, 280K. That's a massive, massive score. And then let's see, going down the list here, Liam Henry always gets it done when he gets the minutes, 50 tackles. That's huge. Hobie Farmworth with 47 points there. Solid enough. Casey McLean might get some minutes here. So Alamotti, he is out with a broken arm for about 6 weeks now, which means Casey McLean could play out the remainder of the season at the center spot. He will go up in price a little bit here. So break even was 8 points. He scored 43. Probably goes up about 35 to 40K. So he's going to be about 280K. But that's borderline cash out price. I like the look of him as a player. I like the fact that he plays at Penrith. And I think he could be a guy we get in this week. So keep an eye on that Alamotti news and keep an eye on Team List Tuesday, but he could be the option we check out. Felice Kafusi played 80 minutes as well, so we're shouting this out. 42 points, 404K, dual position. Kind of an interesting cash out pod. And then going down the list here, Scotty Sorensen, 40 points, decent enough. It was looking dire and it heated up at the end. Max Plath, 32 points in 80 minutes. Probably a sell. I'm probably going to be selling him. I don't think there's enough there to keep. Isaac Tungo, 28 points. He is a very attacking stat reliant player, so I'm actually not super worried about this. When he scores tries, he scores big. And if you look at his numbers from last year, he has those big 75-plus games. He has plenty of sub-35-point games as well. So Isaac Tungo, this is regular for him. He averaged 50 points last year doing this as well. I think he'll bounce back down the stretch. And the rest of the list here, is there anything else we'll look at? I mean, Trey Fuller didn't get the minutes. Probably not worth talking about too much. He's a sell right now anyway. So let's go to the next game here. So Manly and the Titans. And man, the Titans started pretty well in this game. So they were looking good. They looked like they had their way of this game. And Manly have just come out and absolutely destroyed them down the stretch. So Tommy Turbo, first up here, 91 points. I want to talk about the stat line here because this was transcendent from Tom Trbojevic. So you've got 2 tries here. You've got 2 try assists. 3 try assists, 2 try savers, a line break, 3 line break assists, as well as a ton of run meters here too. So 91 points is huge, but the requirement there of attacking stats, so 5 combined tries or try assists, is huge. Do I recommend him as a buy option? Probably not soon because they have a tough matchup this week and then they have the buy next week. But at the same time, if you want to pot up with Tommy Trbojevic, I can't say no to that because he has had these historic runs before and he's looking very good in real life. Bo Firma, 70 points here, grabbed the try saver as well. He was really good in the beaten Titans side. Carl Lawton shut down David Fafita in this game, 60 points, really solid outing from him. Dave Fafita, 56 points here, 8 tackle breaks, but just couldn't pull off those big attacking plays there. So that's the issue. But look, 56, you'll live with it. I was just hoping for a bit more, and I'm a bit greedy as a Fafita owner. Then going to the list here, Ruben Garrick, really solid, 53 points. Chris Randall, 44, good minutes though, very encouraging. Jaden Campbell, 42 points in a big loss. You take that as a massive win. That's a huge win. He really lights it up when they have attacking opportunities, and they didn't have many in this game. So I still like the look of Jaden Campbell. DCE, 41 points, pretty average there. Rolling down the list here, who else we got? Jake Simpkin, 28 points. Probably not a guy you're going to be starting going forward, so just keep that in mind. He is a end-of-bench kind of guy. If he's not getting 80 minutes, then the points aren't, fantastic. And then down the bottom of the list here, let's see, Lehigh Hopewadi picked up an injury in this one. I believe he'll be out for a little bit. It was a fractured cheekbone there. A few other guys here, probably you're not looking too deeply at for your fantasy side. So going into the last game of the round, Cowboys and the Dogs. This is a really interesting one to talk about here because this game was close. This was a really close game. And there's a couple of players in this game that I might be eyeing off, but I'm not super, super convinced on. So Halem Lukey first, 73 points, not one I'm considering. But he's one that I had earlier in the year, and it's good to see him living up to that potential. So 63 minutes is great. 2 tries is great. 5 tackle breaks is great. 30 tackles, 1 miss is great as well. If you're a Lukey owner, you're probably going to stick with him for a little bit longer and see what happens. But he's not going to be that full-blown keeper. This is a very attacking stat-reliant score. Matty Burton sort of showed why we should be considering him as a potential keeper. 68 fantasy points in this one was really solid. Ruben Cotter, backing up from Origin, 64 points is huge. Josh Curran's interesting here. So the 57 points to try isn't anything to write home about, but I like the look of the minutes. So 73 minutes in this one. He went off at about the 50-minute mark, and I thought he might stay off for a while, and in which case this is not super attractive, but he came back on very quickly. So Josh Curran, 579K. He'll shoot up in price a little bit, but at around 600K, you could do a lot worse than Josh Curran. Jacob Krasnick's got the try there, 50 points there. Preston played pretty big minutes here with 47 points. Robson backed up strongly. Reed Marnie, exact same score. Then down the list here, Scotty Drinkwater. I think there might be a late update here, but 39 points is solid enough. Wing fullback was very, very weak this week. Purdue here is interesting as well. So Purdue's at 238K. He'll jump up in price a bit this week, but 35 points with the try. Not an exceptional fantasy scorer, but in a week where we're looking for cash outs, McLean is my top priority, but Purdue could be an option we look at as well, and he's very highly touted. Val Holmes, 30 points. He'll drop in cash a bit more. Again, could be a really pod option that you could look at as well. And then down the bottom of this list here, is there anyone else we want to talk about? I mean, Zeri, some of you guys had him earlier in the year. Stephen Crichton had a big run of big scores and sort of cooled off a bit. Back out for Origin, though. Can't really judge him too much for that. So, yeah, that is us done and dusted, actually. No one else to talk about in this game. So that is round 20 recapped. Obviously, a bit of a tough week. If you bought Connor Watson, you're feeling that pain. If you bought Cleary and captain him, then you are feeling on top of the world. Hopefully, you had a few wins this week. If not, let's talk about trades next week. And there's a lot of moves we can make. A lot of guys that have opened up to target. And Teamless Tuesday is going to be a big one. Anyway, guys, thanks for jumping on. I'll see you on the next video.